Welcome to Leader Lifestyle Hub. We are here on the book summary 45. And who we are? We are a Leader Lifestyle Hub, a digital place for digital leaders who want to enhance every day and with the help of different books. And the name of the book that we have today is Procrastination, written by Jane B. Burka and Lenora M. Nguyen. The tagline of this book is Why You Do It, What to Do Right Now. Why you do it and what to do about it now. Let us see small information about this book. This book was written in 1983. Remember, this is a old book and it gives a proper techniques for overcoming the procrastination. And the name of the book is Procrastination. Why people struggle with that, and drawing on personal and professional experiences, it offers a tested program and tips on how to conquer procrastination tendencies. Let us see small information about the author. Jane B. Burka is a psychologist and psychoanalyst who specializes in the procrastination, work inhibition, creative blocks, mood disorders. Sometimes people have mood disorders, relationship issues, grief, traumas, and life transitions. So we can hear from this powerful psychologist, and she's running a private practice, means for those who are suffering with the traumas, and it is also there on the faculty of the Psychoanalytic Institute of Northern California. Whereas the another author is there, Lenora M. Nguyen. There are two women who are sharing their knowledge in this book. One is Jane B. Burka, doctorate, and another one is Lenora M. Nguyen, another doctorate, is another psychologist based on the California. So let us start our main lessons without any delay. While almost everyone procrastinates at some point in their life, like I did yesterday, I thought of doing it, but I have delayed it. It can be a chronic issue for someone. When procrastination becomes a consistent pattern, it can be as frustrating for the procrastinator as it is for those around them. Let us dig deeper how to stop procrastination, which is nothing but delaying the important works again and again. While women tend to procrastinate less than men, it can affect everyone in a range of occupations. Being self critical and avoiding certain emotions like fear and doubt play like surprisingly large roles in the behavior. There are a lot of complex elements involved, which is why an instant change isn't often possible. You cannot just flip off your procrastination switch like on or off, but it is possible to reduce the behavior with time and effort. It is also worth mentioning that procrastination does not equate to stupidity. When people procrastinate, they often put off an important task until the last moment, like bill paying the bills at the last date. This is the one of the scenario I have seen in many people. In that scenario, the work might be rushed or turned in late. If suppose if you want to write 200 pages book, and if you keep on procrastination, the mental burden will be increasing. The resulting consequences can make procrastinators feel bad about themselves and question their abilities. But it's important to remember that work is a result of a habit. Remember, work is a result of a habit. It does not indicate anything about intelligence. Finally, I come to the next part of lesson. Next lesson I want to share, which is an unrealistic thought process. I recommend you to take digital notes and share in the last like comments below. Think back to your time you procrastinated. Let us imagine. Let's revise your life. Think back your time when you procrastinated. Whether you might be missing your paying bill, whether you might be missing your deadlines. Were you dealing with an internal struggle of feelings and thoughts? The thoughts you had very likely assumptions rather than absolute truth. Maybe you thought everything you did had to be flawless or it would result in disaster. This kind of defeatist thinking, this kind of defeatist thinking is actually self imposed and unfounded, and it often leads to deeper procrastination habits. Many people put things off because they are worried about possible negative outcomes. Means they always fear about what might come. Log kya kahenge? They always feel about what other people think when I do this. But you don't need to be perfect to live a valuable life and to be important. Remember this, write down on paper. You don't need to be perfect to live a valuable life and to be important. In fact, nothing is ever truly perfect in an absolute sense. In the same vein, no failure should ever be the end of the world. Humans tend to see the things a lot worse than they actually are. We all experience failures at some point, and that's okay. Even though that is good, failure and setbacks are actually learning experiences that can help you move forward. I have recently listed down all my failures of 2 weeks back, and it was a great lesson for me to take forward and to learn from my mistakes or failures. They'll only hold you back if you let them. Remember that failures only hold you back if you let them. Until unless you let them, it will not affect you. Your feelings of self worth should not boil down to a single task or single mistake or a conversation or a action. So practice cultivating understanding, practice patience, practice self-reflection, and practice kindness towards yourself. Four techniques I want to share. Practice understanding what happened, why happened. Practice patience and practice self-reflection, what you can do for that. And practice kindness towards yourself. Don't be harsh on yourself. In doing so, it's possible to move past the negative cycle, improve the each failure, and decrease procrastination. Three things: move past with the negative cycle, and improve with each failure, and decrease procrastination. Let us see success. How you perceive yourself can be a funny thing. How you perceive yourself can be a funny thing. In many cases, it has nothing to do with how others perceive you, especially when it comes to negative thoughts you may have about yourself. Maybe your efforts never seem good enough to you, while others think you are thriving. Procrastinators often feel as if the attempt means nothing. Means even though we try it, we don't succeed. Then what is the use of trying? This is the thinking of procrastinators. However, trying can mean everything. It's a success in its own right. If you don't try, there is no chance of achieving. What you do to achieve a particular goal is just as big a part of the success as the achievement of the goal itself. So don't forget to celebrate your successes. Say, let us say an example. Your deadline is fast approaching. You are hitting the deadline of your project. You need to put together a presentation for a meeting. You procrastinated a bit, but nowhere near as much as you usually do. You worked very hard to get it done in time. The presentation was fantastic and everyone loved it. Your efforts in putting together the presentation and how you fought against your urge to procrastinate were successful. It's okay to feel worthy of success, regardless of how big or how small that success might seem. Even though it might be small success, you need to embrace the success by celebrations. As a procrastinator, being on time or early for an appointment or being on time for these live sessions is an accomplishment on par with aching with a presentation. Success can be scary though. It can make you feel vulnerable or worried about being in the spotlight. All of these thoughts and feelings can manifest themselves as a delays or procrastination, which holds you back the success you deserve. And now you are stuck in a repetitive cycle. Whenever your procrastination repeated again and again, it became a huge problem. It's normal to feel scared and concerned about outcomes. The trick is to not let them snowball into overwhelming negativity. So don't let procrastination self sabotage the triumph and success that you deserve. It doesn't just stem from your innate nature. Generally, it stems from your mind, thoughts, and feelings. Your upbringing and your personal relationships are connected to why you procrastinate and how you procrastinate. Suppose let us say, take an example. You are experiencing a conflict with a family member, either it may be spouse, either it may be family member, mother, or your father, or your sister. You are putting off confronting the issue. In this case, procrastination can seem less painful and easier to deal with than any negative emotions that could arise as a result of facing that conflict. But the reality is that the feelings we experience aren't always positive. Sometimes there will be fightings in your home, there will be conflicts in your home. The feelings you experience from the atmosphere aren't always positive. It's impossible to avoid all aspects of negativity, and hiding behind procrastination can keep you from experiencing life to the fullest. Relationships with others can offer stimulation, security, and comfort. And working through the unpleasant times, sometimes we call it as a bad luck, will just strengthen your bonds even more. So remember that even in the bad luck, you have a good move. So you will learn something. So it's important not to let your procrastination and the fears driving it. You drive them. Put your relationships and opportunities in jeopardy, means in high priority. You don't want to risk losing a great job because you are always late to client meetings. As due to you are in late, you will not willing to leave the job. And you don't want to not ask someone on a date because you think they will say no. After all, that person could be the love of your life. You might, your spouse, or your close friend. Everyone in the world has their own doubts. Don't let your doubts hold you back. Remember this powerful line. Everyone has their own doubts. Don't let your doubts hold you back. Let us see the realities and perception of time. No discussion about procrastination could be complete without an element typically associated with the habit, which is the most important ingredient of life, which is time. I actually used to say success people use their time and money very wisely. Think about all the occasions you were late, whatever the things happened in your life. Think about those memories you were late. Do you remember how it affected you? And do you remember how other people involved in those situations? Take a moment to think of time. Think of time. Are you picturing the numbers and dates? This is known as objective time. But there is also a subjective time, which is your perception of how that time passes on that situation. Subjective time is not as cut and dry. It varies from one person to the another person. Ideally, there should be a balance between the two. but that is not so easy for people who procrastinate. While this can be frustrating for the doer, it also tends to affect those around them. Means those who associate with those type of procrastinators, the environment will get spoiled. Since each person has their own view on time, it is not uncommon, means it's a common for those with vastly different interpretations to clash. Cultural differences can also play a part, a huge part. Let us take small example. Coming to compromise while working is an always an option, especially in the corporate world or business world. When you are doing a job, doing a little compromise here and there can be an easy option. Interestingly, while people tend to continually view their work in the same way, a person's time evolves over the course of their life. Everyone has 24 hours in a day, and how they utilize it is the key for changing that zone. The good news is there is still time to make positive changes right now, right away. There are lots of psychological facts. Now, let us see what are the psychological facts related to this procrastination and how it impacts a person behavior. You might have heard this particular diseases called ADHD, depression, low self-esteem. Often it makes it people do procrastinate. So do stress and a lack of quality sleep. When you sort out things on a medical level, it may lead to positive changes with your procrastination. We mentioned earlier that dealing with procrastination can be easier than dealing with feelings and emotions. It is hard to work on feelings and emotions, but you have to battle these feelings if you want to challenge procrastination. You cannot avoid them or hide them. You can do daily work to make positive changes. So if you have been procrastinating for something, do daily work on particular activity so that you will have your own flavor to overcome the procrastination. Everyone has unique life. Remember that everyone has unique life and unique life experiences that influence their current procrastination habits. So try to find coping techniques that help you manage your particular ways of thinking. One general piece of advice is to stay grounded in the present. Whatever the situation you are facing, whatever challenges you might going through, whether it may be career challenges, whether it may be relationship challenges, whether it may be health challenges, just stay present or stay grounded in the present moment. Memories and feelings from the past aren't always kind. Some memories give you happiness, some memories leave you sad and sorrow. So let them go. The kinder you are to yourself, the more kind you to yourself, the easier it will be to stop procrastinating. We all know it is not so easy to break long term habits. Just ask a carnivore who is trying to stop eating meat, like me, a night owl who is trying to become an early bird, another example of me. But building a sustainable new habit can be done through small baby steps. Transformation will not happen at single night, overnight. It will take time. So start with small baby steps. Going from procrastinator to someone who faces things is on no exception. You might not even see the tiny shifts you are making, but tackling one small goal at a time, as I have implemented in the last week, doing 5 days challenge on your goal will lead you big results. Here are the few tricks. The first trick is to take note of when familiar feelings you associate with procrastination start to creep in. You need to cut it down when it is rising only. Ask yourself, how do you procrastinate? When did you procrastinate? At that time, what you have done? What do you procrastinate on? Suppose you might be binge watching YouTube. Suppose you might be binge watching the TV or entertainment. At that time, you might be procrastinating the most important work. Pinpointing these details may help you understand why you are procrastinating. There are lots of exercises, therapies, mindful exercises, which helps you become more self-aware and recognize when is the day you are most productive. This is the reason why I have started to track top 3 tasks in a day and how much you have made progress. Let us take an example. Suppose you are fully energized and fully optimistic in the morning, early morning, when you should tackle the essential tasks. Following a plan that you have already written down works for you and your specific situation is key. Remember, everything here is temporary. So if you don't plan your day, your plan day will get spoiled. Or if you don't plan your day, the day plans for you. Set yourself up for success by outlining goals and establishing a plan you can follow. In our case, we have designed our system to plan for top 3 tasks in a day and how much you made progress. Even we have come up with a goal card where you can make progress on each and every day. Don't diminish your efforts. You are not failing just because the effort you made not might not right, but trying to do everything at once will lead you to overwhelm and inaction, means you will not able to do it completely. You know what to do. You need to do few things. Start small, whatever it is. Whether you might be successful, whether you may be failure, whether some people might criticize you, whether some people might appreciate you, ignore that and start small. Reward your little victories for even small, minute milestones that you have received. Celebrate that with the rewards. It's a process and it takes time, energy, and effort. Type TEEE in the chat box. Time, energy, and effort. 3 things it requires. But with each and every milestone success, you are one step closer to become happier, healthier, and become champion in terms of overcoming procrastination. Let us see another powerful lesson that we learned. Reducing procrastination and relationships with the procrastinators. Suppose you know association. Association is the key. Maybe you know a procrastinator and trying to figure out why they do and what they do. You may also be trying to learn how to better compromise with this person. Their procrastination is undoubtedly disappointing and frustrating, but it is not as simple as telling the person to do better. Certain things like nagging or doing what you asked to do may actually result in more harm than good. Suppose you are given a task to do it on this day and you keep on delaying that, the other person might affect for that, as well as you in turn feel guilty that you might not complete that work. So on the flip side, being open to collaboration, providing clear communication, rewarding positive steps, and listening to the person express their feelings can also help a lot. Make sure you also tell the procrastinator in your life how much you appreciate them and their efforts and what you like about them. When you are giving a feedback to someone else, start with some positive statements about their good things, and while revealing the negative side of the person, try to reveal it with the helping solutions. A lot of good can come from being compassionate and trying to understand things from their perspective, which is we call as empathy. But as you start making changes in your relationship, remember that a procrastinator has their own role too. You both need to be willing to accept and work with each other to find a solution. If you are associated with some procrastinator, the work will speed will be less. It will always delay to meet the deadline. If you are not getting any buy-in, you may need to reconsider the relationship. It's not a decision to make lightly, but if the relationship is negatively affecting your well-being and is not improving, it might be your best option. So reducing procrastination is not an easy journey, but it's worth taking for you and those around you. If you yourself are procrastinating, try to overcome them by implementing small baby steps and doing mindful activities, being aware of self awareness and the present moment, and keep making reward system into the daily activities. Whatever the small victories you have, reward yourself. Embarking on this journey doesn't mean you will fix your procrastination issues overnight. I seriously tell you, overcoming procrastination will not happen in overnight. It's a process. You need to do it regularly. Sometimes even consistency will not be possible in those cases. So here are the key ideas again. Procrastination is a psychological complex issue and it is not so easy to overcome. Sometimes you feel that it is easy to overcome that. It is a not easy process. There are a lot of things to be taken care in the daily life. Your thought process and your feelings and emotions are more important than the things that you procrastinate. Embrace each and every minute milestones, whatever the milestones you have set for, embrace the success of those and make sure your personal connection is more than what you have done in the past or future. This is what we have seen, and we have seen the realities of the time and perception of the time. Everyone has 24 hours. How they utilize it is up to their taming procrastination. You might be taming it into someone else, or you might be blaming on someone else. Overcome that. Avoid that blaming. Take responsibility of yourself. And if you are associated with any procrastinator, try to come out of that. Association is very dangerous. And if it is highly effective people or highly committed people, try to utilize those of association. Start small baby steps. And are you procrastinating on something right now? Think of that and post it in the comment box. I will see and will answer your comments or your procrastinating things so that we'll see how we can make progress in moving forward of life. Thank you so much. See you in tomorrow's another book summary. Until then, stay connected.